Earth was cast out by the Council, and rose to build a legacy of power. John Carter stood at the viewing window of the diplomatic vessel as it approached the massive space station. The structure floated in the empty space between star systems, a neutral meeting ground built by the Galactic Council centuries ago. Its curved metal arms stretched out like a giant metal flower, catching the light from a distant sun. "It's bigger than I expected," said Lisa Miller, standing next to him. Her eyes were wide with wonder. John nodded. "They've had thousands of years to build it." He straightened his formal uniform and checked his reflection in the glass. As Earth's first ambassador to alien life, he felt the weight of 7 billion people on his shoulders. After decades of searching the stars, humans had finally received a message from intelligent life 3 years ago. The Galactic Council, a group of 12 advanced alien species, had noticed Earth's radio signals and quantum communication experiments. They sent a message inviting Earth to send representatives. The ship docked with a soft bump. John took a deep breath. "Let's make history," he said to his team of 5 diplomats and scientists. Dr. Susan Wright, Earth's leading xenobiologist, checked her datapad one final time. "Remember, we know almost nothing about their social customs. Follow my lead if they offer any greeting rituals." The airlock doors slid open. Standing before them were 3 aliens of different species. The tallest had blue skin and 4 arms. Another looked almost like a walking plant with glowing spots. The third was covered in smooth scales and had large black eyes. The blue alien spoke, its voice translated through the devices Earth's scientists had rushed to build. "Welcome to Central Station. I am Coordinator Kelvin. These are Council Representatives Neri and Zal. We will escort you to the Council chamber." John bowed slightly. "Thank you for your welcome. We are honored to be here." The group walked through curved hallways filled with strange artwork and plants from 100 worlds. Other aliens passed them, some floating, others walking on many legs. Each gave the humans curious looks. "The full council awaits you," said Kelvin as they approached a large doorway. The council chamber was a huge round room with ascending rings of seats. 12 alien representatives sat in the highest ring, looking down at the humans. Hundreds of other aliens filled the lower seats as observers. High Counselor Zithar, a tall, thin alien with skin that shifted colors like an octopus, stood. "Representatives of Earth, you stand before the Galactic Council, a union of civilizations that has maintained peace and order in this sector for over 4,000 years. John stepped forward on the speaking platform. "Honorable Council, we come in peace and friendship. Earth extends its hand in cooperation and looks forward to joining your community of worlds." A murmur went through the crowd. Zithar's skin darkened slightly. "You misunderstand the purpose of this meeting," Zithar said. "You are not here to join the Council. You are here to be evaluated." John's smile faded. "Evaluated?" A different council member with features like a lion and eagle combined spoke up. "We have been observing your species for decades, your television broadcasts, your internet, your wars. Before any species joins the galactic community, they must be deemed ready," Susan whispered to John. "They've been watching us?" Zithar continued. "The Council will now review the evidence and make its determination." For the next 3 hours, the Council displayed scenes from Earth's history on large screens. They showed wars, environmental damage, crime, and violence. When Earth's representatives tried to explain or defend humanity, they were told to remain silent. Finally, a vote was taken. One by one, each council member pressed a button on their console. 11 red lights. 1 green. John felt sick. "What does this mean?" Zithar's voice was cold. "Earth has been deemed too violent, unpredictable, and developmentally immature to join the Galactic Council. By our laws, you are to be quarantined within your solar system until such time as you evolve beyond your primitive tendencies." "Quarantined?" Lisa gasped. "You can't just lock us in our own system." "The decision is final," said Zithar. "Any attempt to establish colonies beyond your solar system will be met with military response. Sensor arrays will be placed at the boundary to monitor all activity." John stepped forward, his voice steady despite his shock. You judge us without truly knowing us. You've seen our worst moments, but not our best. Humans are capable of great compassion, art, and innovation. We deserve a chance. The evidence speaks for itself, replied Zithar. This meeting is concluded. Guards appeared to escort the humans back to their ship. As they walked, John noticed one alien watching them with different eyes than the others. Not disgust or fear, but curiosity. The alien approached as they neared their ship. I am Lorex of the Arxians, he said quietly. I was the single vote in your favor. Your species has potential, despite what the others believe. Thank you, John said. But what happens now? Return to your world. Prepare your people for isolation. The barrier will be in place within 1 Earth month, I am sorry. With that, Lorex turned and left. The journey back to Earth was silent and heavy. How would they explain to humanity that instead of joining a galactic community, they were being imprisoned in their own solar system? President Eleanor Banks met them at the landing pad in Geneva. Her face fell as she saw their expressions. It didn't go well, she said. It wasn't a question. John handed her the data drive containing the Council's decision. They've rejected us. Completely. They're placing a barrier around our entire solar system to keep us in. Eleanor's jaw tightened. She looked up at the stars, barely visible in the morning light. How will they enforce this? Advanced technology. Monitoring stations. Military vessels if needed, said Susan. Their tech is centuries beyond ours. The president was quiet for a long moment. Then she squared her shoulders. Gather the United Nations. I need to address the world. 6 hours later, Eleanor stood before the assembled representatives of Earth. Cameras broadcast her words to every corner of the planet. Citizens of Earth, today we received a response from the Galactic Council. They have judged us without truly knowing us. They have condemned us without giving us a chance to prove ourselves. She paused, looking directly into the cameras. But today I say this, their rejection will become our strength. If they will not let us join their community, we will build our own legacy among the stars. They may try to contain us, but they cannot contain the human spirit. Across the planet, people listened with a mix of anger, fear, and determination. We will not break their rules. We will not fight a war we cannot win. But neither will we accept. Their judgment is final. We will grow. We will learn. We will prepare. And one day humanity will take its rightful place among the stars. Not because permission was granted, but because we earned it through our own merit. As night fell across Geneva, John stood alone on a balcony, looking up at the stars. Somewhere, up there, alien races thought they had seen everything humanity had to offer. They thought they understood what humans were capable of. They were wrong. Earth was cast out by the Council, and rose to build a legacy of power 20 years passed since the Council's rejection. Earth had changed. The sudden knowledge that humanity was not alone in the universe, and was considered dangerous by other species, had shocked people at first. Some panicked, others grew angry. But over time, that shock turned into something else: determination. The nations of Earth had come together under the Earth Alliance, a single government that represented all humans. Director Alan Hayes now led this alliance from the new capital, in Geneva. He stood at the window of his office looking out at the city where construction never seemed to stop. The latest reports are ready, sir, said his assistant, bringing in a data pad. Alan nodded. What does the Council think we're doing these days? Exactly what we want them to think. Their monitoring stations show us focusing on internal problems, cleaning up pollution, ending conflicts, building a unified society. Alan smiled slightly. And our actual progress? Dr. Foster wants to speak with you. He says it's urgent. 20 minutes later, Alan entered a secure room deep beneath the building. The guards checked his identity 3 times before letting him through. Inside, Dr. William Foster waited. The man had aged well despite the pressure of his work, with only a few gray hairs showing in his beard. You said you had news, Alan said. William's eyes lit up with excitement. We did it. The test was successful. Alan's heart raced, but he kept his face calm. Show me. William led him to a screen showing a recording. A small metal ball sat on a platform in a sealed chamber. Then, in an instant, it vanished. 3 seconds later, it appeared on a different platform 10 feet away. This is the 7th test, William explained. The first 6 only moved the object a few inches. This one was 10 feet and the object remained completely stable. No energy signature? Alan asked. None that Council Tech could detect. That's the beauty of it. The quantum displacement drive doesn't move through space like their ships do. It steps sideways, existing in a slightly different dimension for just a fraction of a second, before returning to our universe at new coordinates. Alan placed a hand on William's shoulder. How soon until we can scale it up? Dr. Nancy Chen is already working on the calculations for larger objects. We think 1 year, maybe 2, before we can test it with a small ship. Alan nodded. Keep this absolutely secret. Our future depends on it. While the scientists worked on their breakthrough technology, other parts of the human plan moved forward. Commander Grace Rodriguez stood in a massive underground facility in what used to be called Colorado. Before her, a new type of ship was taking shape. The hull is nearly complete, said the chief engineer. We're using the new alloy that mimics the composition of Council ships based on the scans we took during our visit. Grace walked around the partially built vessel. It wasn't large, only big enough for a crew of 20. But it represented humanity's first true stealth ship. And the defensive systems? She asked, based on everything we could learn from watching. Their sensor arrays. We can't match their firepower yet, but we've found ways to hide from their scans. Grace nodded. Remember, we're not building for war. We're building so we never have to fight one. The work continued in secret facilities around the world. In the Himalayas, scientists tested materials that could withstand the stresses of the new drive. Under the Antarctic ice, engineers built power systems based on fusion technology that had finally been perfected under the pressure of need. On the surface, humanity appeared to be focusing inward. They built clean cities, restored damaged ecosystems, and created an education system that taught every child about their place in a larger universe. The Council's monitoring stations saw exactly what humans wanted them to see, a species learning from its mistakes. But the truth was different. Humanity was preparing. 3 years later, Alan stood in a secure control room with William and Nancy. On the main screen, they watched as the first human test ship prepared for its historic journey. EAS Pathfinder reports all systems ready, said the communications officer. This is Captain Frank Wilson, came a voice over the speakers. My crew is prepared and the drive is online, awaiting final authorization. Alan looked at the scientists. Are we sure the Council won't detect this? Nancy nodded confidently. The QDD creates no subspace ripples like their technology does. To their sensors, the ship will simply disappear from one location and appear in another, with no trace of movement between. Alan pressed the communication button. Captain Wilson, you are authorized to proceed. Take us beyond our prison. Inside the Pathfinder, Frank gave the order to his crew. The ship hummed as power flowed to the experimental drive. The navigator, Sarah Jones, entered the coordinates for their destination, a point just beyond the edge of the solar system, past the Council's barrier. QDD spinning up, reported the engineer. Field stability at 100%. Frank took a deep breath. Engage. For the crew, there was only a slight feeling of disorientation, like missing a step while walking downstairs. Then the view screen changed. Instead of seeing Earth, they now saw empty space with unfamiliar star patterns. The science officer checked her instruments. Confirming position, we are approximately 1 light hour beyond the Council barrier. No signs of detection or pursuit. Cheer went up from the crew. Frank allowed himself a small smile before restoring order. This is only the first step, he reminded them. Now we need to go further. The Pathfinder spent 3 days testing its drive, making small jumps farther and farther from Earth. Each time they carefully scanned for any sign that the Council had noticed them. There was nothing. Back on Earth, Alan addressed the Alliance Council. The test was a complete success. The QDD works exactly as designed. We can now move beyond our solar system without detection. One of the council members leaned forward. So, what's next? Alan displayed a star map. We've identified several promising systems far from regular council traffic. The Pathfinder will scout these locations for possible colonization. Within 5 years, I believe we can establish our first off-world colony. Another council member frowned. What happens when the council eventually discovers what we've done? Alan's expression was determined. By then, we won't be asking for permission to join their community. We'll be offering them the chance to join ours. As the Pathfinder jumped toward Alpha Centauri, Captain Frank looked out at the stars that humans had been forbidden to visit. They shone brightly, like a promise. Send the message to Earth, he told his communications officer. Operation Breaking Chains has begun. Earth was cast out by the Council, and rose to build a legacy of power 5 years past since the Pathfinder's first journey beyond Earth's solar system. Now, a small fleet of Earth ships moved silently through space, using their quantum displacement drives to avoid Council detection. Humanity had begun to break its chains. Captain Frank Wilson stood on the bridge of the colony ship Hope as it approached Alpha Centauri. The ship was much larger than the Pathfinder, carrying 2,000 colonists in sleep chambers and all the equipment needed to start a new human settlement. Final approach to Centauri Prime, said Sarah Jones, now his trusted second-in-command. QDD powering down. The planet came into view on the main screen. It was smaller than Earth with more ocean and 3 small continents. Scans had shown it had breathable air, drinkable water, and soil that could support Earth plants with some adjustments. Wake the first wave, Frank ordered. We land in 6 hours. The colony ships had been carefully designed to break down into smaller sections that would become the first buildings on each new world. As the Hope entered orbit, smaller landing craft separated from the main hull, carrying people and supplies to the surface. Frank led the first team to step onto the alien soil. The air smelled different, sweeter, with hints of unfamiliar plants. A light breeze made the red-tinted grass sway around them. Not bad for a prison break, Sarah said quietly, looking up at the blue-green sky. Frank nodded. Get the communication array set up. I want to send word to Earth that Centauri Prime is ours. Over the next year, 3 more colony ships arrived, heading to different destinations. The Tau Ceti system received the 2nd colony. Wolf 359 got the 3rd. The 4th went to Trappist 2. Each world was carefully chosen to be far from regular Council traffic. Each colony had a specific focus. Centauri Prime specialized in agriculture, developing new crops that could grow on alien soil. Tau Ceti focused on mining and manufacturing. Wolf 359 became the military center, training defense forces and building small, fast ships. Trappist 2 was dedicated to scientific research. Maria Peterson was a geologist on Tau Ceti III. She spent her days exploring the rocky hills near the colony, collecting samples and studying the planet's unique minerals. On a hot summer day, her scanner picked up an unusual reading from a cave. "Base, this is Peterson," she called on her radio. "I found something strange in the northern hills," sending coordinates. Inside the cave, she discovered crystals unlike anything she had seen before. They glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her movements. When she brought her equipment near them, the power readings jumped wildly. "These crystals are responding to energy fields," she reported later that day to Colony Director Richard Brown. "They seem to absorb, store, and amplify energy in ways I can't explain with our current science." Richard studied the sample she had brought back. "Can we use them? If we can figure out how they work, they could revolutionize our energy systems. They store power more efficiently than anything we've ever developed." Within weeks, the discovery was named Petersonite after Maria. Research teams worked day and night to understand the crystals. Scientists on Earth were sent samples via courier ships, and soon every human colony was searching for similar formations. The breakthrough came 6 months later, when Dr. William Foster, now head of the Earth Alliance Science Division, found a way to integrate the crystals into the QDD technology. "The new drive requires 80% less power," he reported to Director Hayes, and it can move ships twice the size of our current vessels. Alan Hayes, older now with streaks of gray in his hair, nodded with satisfaction. How does this affect our timeline? We can expand much faster now. The crystals also have military applications. They can generate shields stronger than anything the Council races use based on our observations. Alan studied the star maps on his office wall. Small green dots showed the human colonies, tiny points of light in a vast galaxy, dominated by the Council. Speed up production. I want 20 new colony ships within the year. As human settlements expanded, each sharing their discoveries through the growing network of QDD-equipped courier vessels, technological progress accelerated. The colonies developed their own cultures while maintaining strong ties to Earth. On Tau Ceti, mining operations discovered more Petersonite deposits deep underground. Maria Peterson led the largest mining operation, extracting the valuable crystals that powered humanity's expansion. The latest scans show a massive deposit under the eastern mountain range, she told her team, enough to power 100 new ships. Unknown to the humans, their activities had not gone completely unnoticed. A Council trading vessel passing near Tau Ceti detected unusual energy readings. The captain, curious, altered course slightly to investigate. What he found shocked him. A fully established human colony with technology that seemed far more advanced than what Earth should possess. He immediately sent an encrypted message to the Council. 3 weeks later, a Council investigation fleet arrived at Tau Ceti. 7 large warships appeared in orbit, their weapons powered but not yet firing. The colony's alert systems blared as the ships were detected. All citizens to shelter positions, announced the emergency system. This is not a drill. Governor Samuel Grant, the colony leader, called an emergency meeting. They've found us. Options? The defense chief looked grim. We have 5 fast ships with the new Petersonite shields. Not enough to fight them directly. We're not going to fight, Samuel said firmly. Not yet. Open a communication channel. On the main screen, the face of a Council commander appeared. His skin was gray with bony ridges, eyes narrowed in suspicion. Human. Colony, you are in violation of Council quarantine. Surrender immediately or face orbital bombardment. Samuel stood tall before the camera. I am Governor Samuel Grant of New Earth. We acknowledge your presence, but we reject your authority over human expansion. We broke no laws. We simply found a way past your barrier. The commander's expression showed surprise at the calm response. Your species was deemed unfit for space travel. How did you bypass our sensor network? Samuel smiled slightly. Perhaps you should reconsider your evaluation of humanity. We invite your representatives to land and speak with us peacefully. Any aggressive action will be met with consequences you cannot predict. The commander hesitated, clearly expecting fear or hostility rather than confident invitation. Prepare to receive our diplomatic shuttle. Any sign of weapons will result in immediate attack. After the transmission ended, Samuel turned to his team. Activate the Petersonite defense grid, but keep it hidden until needed. Contact Earth immediately. The Council has found us. The time for hiding is over. When the Council representatives landed, they were greeted not by a primitive outpost but by a thriving colony with technology that in some ways matched or exceeded their own. Samuel led them on a tour that carefully revealed enough to impress, but not enough to show all of humanity's new capabilities. Welcome to New Earth, he told them with quiet confidence. We've been expecting you, just not quite so soon. News of the Council's discovery of Tau Ceti spread quickly across human space. Emergency meetings were called on Earth and all colonies. The secret was out. Humanity now faced its greatest test since being cast out 32 years ago. On Earth, Director Alan Hayes gathered his top advisors in the secure command center beneath Geneva. The mood was tense but not panicked. What's the latest report from Tau Ceti? He asked. His military advisor displayed images on the main screen. The Council has stationed 12 warships in orbit. Governor Grant reports peaceful but wary interactions. They're shocked by our technology level and confused about how we got past their barrier. Alan nodded. And their communications? Their fleet has sent multiple reports back to Council space. Based on their traffic patterns, we believe they're debating what to do about us. Some factions want military action. Others seem interested in our technology. Alan studied the strategic display. Green dots showed human colonies and outposts, now numbering 27 across 15 star systems. Red triangles marked known Council positions. Prepare for all possibilities, he ordered. Activate defense grids on all colonies, move our fast response ships into position, but maintain peaceful stance. No provocative actions. On the Council's massive central station, emergency sessions had been called. The 12 ruling species argued fiercely about how to respond to humanity's escape from quarantine. The humans must be punished, insisted Councillor Vex of the militant Draken species. They defied our judgment and broke quarantine. Our laws demand enforcement. Their method of travel is unlike anything we've seen, countered Councillor Neary, the plant-like being who had first received Earth's representatives decades earlier. They've developed technology that can bypass our sensor networks completely. High Councillor Zithar, still leading after all these years, called for order. The human colony at Tau Ceti possesses energy technology that our scientists cannot explain. Reports indicate these crystals they've discovered provide power capabilities beyond our current understanding. All the more reason to contain them now before they grow stronger, argued Vex. Or all the more reason to reassess our judgment, said a quieter voice. All eyes turned to Lorax of the Arxians, the same counselor who had cast the single vote in humanity's favor years ago. I moved to reconsider Earth's status 30 years ago and was overruled, Lorax continued. Now we see they've developed technology that in some ways surpasses our own, despite our efforts to contain them. Perhaps we judged too quickly. The debate continued for days. Meanwhile, Council enforcer fleets began moving toward other suspected human territories. The first direct confrontation came at Wolf 3559. 3 Council warships approached the colony, weapons charged. They were met by 6 smaller human vessels, using the new Petersonite shield technology. Council vessels, this is Commander Helen Scott of the Earth Defense Force, transmitted the human squadron leader. We detect your weapons are active. We consider this a hostile approach to a peaceful settlement. Human ships, power down and prepare to be boarded, came the response. This colony exists in violation of Council law. The Council ships fired warning shots expecting the humans to flee or surrender. Instead, the human vessels activated their Petersonite shields. The energy weapons struck the blue glowing barriers and dissipated harmlessly. Commander Scott gave the order she had hoped to avoid. Targeted EMP pulses only. Disable their systems without causing permanent damage. The human ships fired specialized weapons designed by scientists on TRAPPIST-2. Pulses of energy struck the Council ships, temporarily disabling their propulsion and weapons. As the alien vessels drifted, Commander Scott sent one final message. We could have destroyed your ships. We chose not to. Consider that when you report back to your Council. The message was clear. Humans would not be easy to subdue. Back on Earth, Ambassador Catherine Lee prepared for the most important mission of her life. She had been appointed as humanity's new representative to the Council, tasked with turning 30 years of secret development into a new relationship with the galactic community. The Council has agreed to meet with you, Alan told her during the final briefing. But only because they're trying to understand how we've achieved what we have. They're still divided on whether to negotiate or attack. Catherine nodded. She was younger than John Carter had been when he first faced the Council, but her eyes showed the same determination. What are my limitations? Don't reveal the full extent of our QDD technology or the military applications of Petersonite. But make it clear we've moved beyond their ability to simply lock us away again. We're willing to establish peaceful relations, but as equals, not as subjects. The diplomatic vessel departed Earth using conventional engines until it was beyond the sensor barrier, then activated its QDD to appear near Central Station. The Council was shocked by the ship's sudden appearance, having never detected its approach. Catherine stood before the council chamber, facing the same semicircle of alien representatives that had rejected humanity decades earlier. Some faces were the same, others had changed, but the power dynamic was entirely different. "Members of the council," she began, "I come before you not to ask for admission to your community, but to establish a new relationship between humanity and the galactic powers. 30 years ago, you judged us unworthy and locked us away. Today we have proven that judgment was premature." Murmurs spread through the chamber as she continued. "We did not defy your quarantine out of disrespect, but out of a fundamental belief that no species' potential should be artificially limited. We seek neither dominance nor revenge, but recognition and the right to determine our own destiny among the stars." High Counselor Zethar's skin shifted colors rapidly, showing agitation. "Your species has violated one of our most sacred principles. The quarantine was established for the safety of all. And yet, here I stand, representing colonies across 15 star systems, all established peacefully, all developing technologies that we are willing to share with friendly species." Catherine's voice remained calm and steady. "The question before you is not how to force us back into our cage. That opportunity has passed. The question is whether humanity will become your partners or your rivals." The Arxian delegate, Lorex, rose to speak. "Perhaps we judged too quickly. The humans have shown us something we had forgotten. That determination can overcome any barrier. I move that we reconsider Earth's status." The debate lasted for weeks. Meanwhile, more Council scout ships encountered human colonies, each time reporting back the same findings. Advanced technology, particularly in energy production and shielding, unlike anything seen before. The discovery that truly changed the galactic power balance came when Council scientists finally analyzed Petersonite samples. The crystals responded to energy in ways that defied known physics. Proper use of the crystals could revolutionize everything from starship design to weapons technology. Catherine saw the shift in attitude as reports came in. The more militaristic, Council members stopped calling for humanity's punishment and started arguing for control of the crystal sources. The scientific representatives pushed for cooperative research. The merchants saw trading opportunities. In her private quarters on Central Station, Catherine received a message from Earth. New Petersonite deposits had been found on 2 more human worlds. Their position was stronger than ever. "Hold firm," Alan's message read. "We negotiate as equals or not at all." Earth was cast out by the Council, and rose to build a legacy of power. 1 year of difficult negotiations followed the Council's discovery of human colonies. Treaties were drafted, argued over, and rewritten dozens of times. Human diplomats stood firm while Council representatives slowly accepted the new reality. Earth would not be forced back into isolation. The Treaty of New Terra finally established the Human Confederation as an independent coalition with recognized sovereignty over 15 star systems. The quarantine was officially lifted, and trade agreements were signed with 7 of the 12 Council races. Life across human space transformed as ships moved freely between Earth and the colonies. Ideas, technology, and culture flowed back and forth, creating a unique human identity that blended the best parts of old Earth with the frontier spirit of the colonies. Director Alan Hayes stood before the newly elected Confederation Assembly on the 5th anniversary of the treaty signing. His hair was now fully white, but his eyes still burned with the same determination. "Today we celebrate 5 years of official freedom," he told the gathered representatives from all human worlds. "But we must remember that freedom was not given to us. We took it through courage, innovation, and unity of purpose. The Council now treats us as equals not because they want to, but because they must." The applause was loud and genuine. Humans across 20 colonies watched his speech on their screens. "Our position is strong," Alan continued, "but the galaxy is vast and full of dangers we have yet to face. We must remain vigilant and continue to develop our unique strengths." No one knew how prophetic those words would be. 6 months later, strange ships appeared at the edges of Council space. They moved in formations that suggested insect swarms, with larger vessels surrounded by clouds of smaller craft. First contact went poorly when they attacked a council outpost without warning or communication. The council called an emergency session, inviting representatives from all known spacefaring civilizations, including humans. High Counselor Zithar's normal composure was shaken as he addressed the gathered delegates. "We face an unknown enemy calling themselves the Hive Collective," he said. "They have already destroyed 3 outposts and show no interest in communication or negotiation. Their technology is unlike anything we have encountered." Reports from the front lines were grim. The Hive ships used biological technology that could repair itself during battle. Their weapons fired swarms of tiny projectiles that ate through conventional shields. Council defense systems were proving ineffective. Catherine Lee, now the permanent human ambassador to the Council, sent urgent messages back to Earth. The human leadership met to discuss their response. "The Council expects us to join their defense efforts," said the military advisor. "But we have no obligation under the treaty to fight their wars." Admiral Paul Martinez, commander of the Confederation fleet, studied the reports of Hive attacks. "This isn't just their war. If these Hive ships defeat the Council, we'll face them next, likely alone." Alan nodded. "And we have something the bow. Council doesn't. Petersonite shields and QDD technology. We could make a difference." The decision was made. Humanity would join the fight, but on their own terms. Admiral Martinez led the human response fleet, 50 ships equipped with the latest Petersonite technology. Unlike the Council's direct approach, humans used their QDD drives to jump behind enemy lines, attacking supply ships and disrupting Hive formations. Scientists on TRAPPIST-2 studied captured Hive technology and made a crucial discovery. The Hive ships communicated through a neural network similar to an insect colony. Dr. Nancy Chen developed a weapon that could disrupt this communication, causing confusion in Hive formations. The war raged for 3 years across dozens of star systems. The Council races, once divided on many issues, found themselves fighting alongside humans against a common enemy. Old prejudices faded in the heat of shared battle. The turning point came when the Hive launched a massive attack against the Valthusian homeworld, the same species whose High Counselor had been most vocal in casting Earth out decades ago. The planet was surrounded by Hive ships, its defenses failing. A desperate call for aid went out to all Allied forces. The Council fleet was engaged elsewhere and couldn't arrive in time. It seemed the Valthusian civilization was doomed. Then, in a moment that would become legend, 30 human ships appeared in orbit around the planet. They had used their QDD technology to jump directly into the battle, bypassing the Hive blockade. Admiral Martinez led the defense personally. "Valthusian Command, this is Admiral Martinez of the Human Confederation," he transmitted. "Hold fast, we stand with you." The human ships formed a protective ring around the planet, their Petersonite shields glowing bright blue against the darkness of space. When the Hive attacked, they found their biological weapons couldn't penetrate these strange barriers. Human fighters launched from the larger vessels, carrying the neural disruptors developed on TRAPPIST-2. As they flew through the Hive formations, the enemy ships began to move erratically, their coordinated attack falling into chaos. For 3 days, the human fleet defended the Valthusian homeworld until Council reinforcements arrived. The combined forces drove the Hive back, scoring a bounty, decisive victory. In the aftermath, something had changed in how the Council viewed humanity. The species they had once locked away as too dangerous had become their strongest defenders. The Council structure itself was reformed when the war finally ended. The old hierarchy of senior and junior races was abolished. A new interstellar alliance was formed, with Earth receiving a permanent seat alongside the original Council members. On the centennial anniversary of Earth's initial rejection, now celebrated as Ascendance Day across human space, President Olivia Clark addressed the delegates. Of 32 species gathered on Central Station, 100 years ago humans stood in this chamber and were judged unworthy, she said. Today we stand here as partners and protectors of a galactic peace that we helped secure. The station itself had been rebuilt using Petersonite technology, now shared freely among allied species. Ships arriving used navigation systems based on human QDD principles, modified for safety and efficiency. Our legacy was never meant to be one of isolation or domination, President Clark continued, but of perseverance and cooperation. When cast out, we did not fall, we built wings. When faced with barriers, we found new paths. In the audience sat an elderly Valthusian who had once been High Counselor Zithar. He had lived long enough to see his judgment proven wrong and to personally thank the humans who saved his homeworld. This is the true legacy of Earth, concluded President Clark. Not the power to stand alone, but the strength to extend a hand across the stars. As the applause filled the chamber, a young human child watched from the viewing gallery. Her parents had brought her to witness this historic moment. She knew the stories of Earth's rejection and rise, but to her, they were just ancient history. She lived in a galaxy where humans traveled freely between the stars, where alien friends visited Earth for vacation, and where the idea that humanity had once been caged in their own solar system seemed almost impossible to believe. "Mom," she asked, "why did they think humans were dangerous?" Her mother smiled. "They weren't entirely wrong. We can be dangerous when threatened or cornered, but they miss something important about us." "What's that?" "That the same determination that helps us survive also makes us loyal friends and strong allies. They thought our strength was something to fear, when really it was something the galaxy needed all along." Across human space and beyond, the anniversary celebrations continued, marking not just humanity's rise to power, but the beginning of a new age of cooperation among the stars.